Sales collateral is a mandatory part of selling in almost all cases. Sales collateral answers the question, what materials will I need to sell my product? It sounds pretty simple, but there are lots of ways to skin this onion. Essentially, this is different than advertising. You're going to ask yourself, what's my sales team going to need in order to get this done? You know, I might be doing advertising on television or the radio or on the internet or what have you, but that's not necessarily what my sales team will need to sell the product. These are going to be, this whole subject is going to be different for different types of businesses, of course. But in general, sales collateral is a body of materials that you're going to need and information you're going to need to convince a customer or help a customer with their decision to use your product. So a good way to think about sales collateral is everything you do when you're building it for your company is about establishing value and helping with a financial calculation that your customer is going to go through. You're essentially saying, here's why we think our product is good, here's how much it costs, and what does that mean for your business or for you as an individual. So let's split sales collateral into three pieces as a simple starting place. Physical materials, calculations, and demo materials or demonstration materials. Each of these plays a role and most sales collateral can be classified in one of these three pieces. First, let's talk about physical materials. This is things like pictures, brochures, even business cards, folders. You may have seen folders full of information that someone selling a product will leave behind. A features and benefits list or discussion or file, or add-ons or compatibility discussions. These are just some examples. Most of you in your life have probably seen these in multiple places. Sometimes they're effective, sometimes they're annoying. The point is, as a business owner or as a person trying to sell something, you can decide for yourself which of these are appropriate for your business. We'll talk about various business types in a second, and I'll give you some examples. But these things actually do serve a purpose. Often what they're doing is either helping with the calculation or providing some demonstration of value. So the calculation piece is a little different. The three examples I use here are return on investment, total cost of ownership, and cash flow. So return on investment is you're saying, hey look, here's how much it costs and here's how we think it helps the typical person like you or business like you, and therefore there's this value. If you want to know more about ROI, watch the video on that subject. Also, total cost of ownership, same thing, watch that video. Your product may cost a certain amount, but how much does it cost to actually buy, implement, and use the product? Buying a computer is one thing, but paying for the use of power, paying for the software, paying for the time it takes for someone to man it, that is closer to total cost of ownership than actually just buying the computer. So it helps to explain that to a client as well because that's going to factor into their purchasing decision. And then cash flow. How do you pay for it? How does it relate to the pricing structure? How do you pay for it over time? Does that mean I have to spend all this money up front, or can I trickle it out over a long period of time? That can often make a big difference in purchases, and people will include this in their collateral. So when a client says, hey, potential client says, hey, leave some stuff with me, it can be, features and benefits list, here's my business card, call me later, here's a cash flow diagram you asked for, here's an ROI discussion, show your boss. What you're trying to do is arm the decision maker with the ability to evaluate the decision. And then demo materials are exactly what they sound like. It's either a live demonstration of your product, maybe you're carrying around a prototype with you if it's a physical product, maybe it's a product sample that you could leave with someone here, try it, or it's an offline or a static demo in case you don't have internet access or in case your product can't be accessed. You might have an example of what it is that you can use in front of the client. So again, these materials are really important. There's another purpose they also serve, which is they sort of keep sales guys on the case. The sales guys won't forget what they're supposed to say. They'll remember to hit on certain key issues because it's laid out in the materials. Also, a common objection that people will use during the sales process is, hey, just leave some stuff with me, and I'll look at it later. Often they're trying to brush you off, but that is an opportunity to leave pertinent materials with them. And then a third big thing is arming the decision maker with the ability to actually make the decision or justify their decision internally. Often to make a sale, whoever's idea it is to buy that inside of a company or even individually has to go back to their wife or their husband or their boss or whoever else in their company is controlling that decision and make a case for why they should buy it. So this material will often arm that person with statistics or with information that allow them to convince people inside their own family or organization to make that purchase. So don't overlook these. I know sometimes they can be a little annoying. Let's talk about the three different kinds of businesses here. We'll just sort of discuss, and you'll notice there's going to be a difference in the materials, a different math equation, and slightly different demonstration process. You can apply these to your own businesses. Let's first look at software. Let's say we're selling something online, a CRM package like Salesforce.com, and I'm selling it based on a certain number of dollars per user. Now, what kind of materials am I going to need? Well, that sale generally happens online. It doesn't happen in person. So the materials I might need may be on my website, but they're still going to take the form of maybe some screenshots, who to contact in the sales organization to sign up. It may talk about all the features and benefits. You guys have probably seen those online where they have a big list of what the software does and why. What are the benefits to using a CRM and why? And then what other kind of services can I get if this turns out to be valuable to me? So that stuff may all appear online, and it's going to be text mostly, and some photos, but that's stuff you're going to pay a lot of attention to how you write. And then also it's going to say, okay, math, how much does it cost? How many dollars per month? And what do we think it's going to save you? Or how many more sales are you going to make? And this is going to be more of a mathematical equation that's going to be visually represented online. But you're going to say, hey, look, we think you're going to do this many more sales, and therefore there's an ROI justification that if you spend a little bit of money on this thing, you're going to make money by closing more deals and being more organized. And then demonstrations, this may be a login and a password. It may be a temp account where you can temporarily use the product, or it could be like an online tutorial. So you could build an online thing that the mouse floats around and you have a voice saying, here's how the software works and what have you. So that's going to look very different than, say, you're selling a jacket. Say you're Mountain Hardware or something, and you're selling a physical product. In this case, you're going to want photographs, catalogs. What else do they use? A lot of physical representations of the product. Even you may skip to actually carrying a product with you, an actual jacket with you. You're going to have a demo that people can look and touch and feel and try on. That's really the role of the retailer. And then the math is a little soft here. You're not necessarily saving money. There's not a big ROI or a total cost of ownership equation. It's more a value and branding play. So you're going to talk about the brand and why it's cool and how it looks. And this is a slightly different discussion, obviously, than a business discussion. And then let's look at a cleaning service. By the way, this is why physical product companies spend so much time on branding, because that's really their ROI and mathematics equation. You're just spending money to get a physical thing, so they're going to want to tell you, why it's cool and what it does for you. All right, so let's talk about really quickly the cleaning service. They're charging dollars per month. In this case, you guys have probably all had these left on your front door. You're going to want business cards. You're going to want a brochure. You're going to want something that shows people who the folks cleaning their houses or cleaning their car is. Then you're going to want pricing, a simple pricing establishment. Usually this value prop is not a very complex ROI equation. You get a clean house for X number of dollars. And then also you're probably going to want to say, hey, we'll do it the first time for half off. This is discounting as a sample or as a demonstration. Or we've cleaned this many houses in your neighborhood, or here are some references, that kind of thing. So you can see it's different for every type of business. Part of being a sales executive or a business leader is looking at the variables inside of your own business that are important and figuring out how to combine these discussions into material that's going to be impactful for your potential clients. This is actually a fairly difficult process, but it's a good way to start thinking about it in terms of what physical materials do you need, what calculations are you trying to help your potential client with, and what sort of demonstration or demo materials or access to the product can you give a client to sort of help them push them over the edge in terms of making a sale. So think about this critically as it relates to your own business, but that's what sales collateral is used for.